my recommendation for anybody in their 20s or anybody who could afford traveling to visit China at least once in their life.
All right, I was just in China for 1 week, and China needs to be the #1 place on your list if you are an experienced traveler.
Or come live here for like 6 months, or just experience China.
Hello amazing viewer, delighted to have you once more at Comfort for Life. You are new here. If I bring to you compilation of TikTok and Red Note videos for educational purposes, why don't you subscribe? And to my returning viewers, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm back again with another compilation. Guys, I said something in my previous video that I'm quickly starting to think that I need to review, because the more I research on this country, because TikTok has really decided to take me to the side of China that is really China TikTok is really amazing, and it's a discovery every day. And I have a confession. When I decided that I will be doing China video, I thought that I will quickly run into a crisis of content. But seriously, I am running short of time. That's why I am not bombarding you with videos every minute concerning this country. The more I am coming across videos of this country, the more I'm quickly realizing that what the lady said in the previous clip is a reality. Everyone in their lifetime, she said 20s, but even in my 50s, guys, even though you are 60, you just have to travel to China for another reason other than propaganda. And you're going to discover that in this video. Like the video for recommendation, and let's dive in.
You know, there's so much about China in the news nowadays, and yet the average person knows basically nothing about why China is the way it is. 20% of all the people alive on Earth today live in China, and some of the most important events in world history happened here. So if you want to claim to be well informed about the world, you have to understand China. And that starts with the fact that China has some of the most intense and consequential geography of any place in the world. So I'm going to explain that geography to you as quickly as possible. Are you ready? Here we go. The People's Republic of China is an enormous country located in Eastern and Central Asia, bordered by 14 other countries on land, the most of any country in the world, tied with Russia. It has land borders with North Korea, Russia, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam. It also shares water borders with South Korea, Japan, and depending on who you ask, anywhere between 0 and 5 other countries. More on that later. China is one of the most, if not the single most dominant country in the world geographically. It's almost exactly the same size as the United States, being either just smaller or just larger, depending on whether you count the Great Lakes or not. China is now the second most populous country in the world after being overtaken by India in 2023. Prior to that, though, it had been the world's most populous place going back thousands of years, providing a cradle for civilization better than almost any other on the planet. Why is this? Well, the answer, of course, boils down to geography. While this is the map of China we see today, this is really just the most recent iteration out of hundreds of different Chinese maps, varying in size from as large as the Qing dynasty of the 1800s, encompassing most of modern-day Mongolia and southeastern Russia, to the smallest and earliest kingdoms of the Shang. Throughout every iteration of China, though, whether it be a unified global superpower or a collection of warring kingdoms, there is one constant: the North China Plain. This, in all reality, is China, and everything else is just kind of their backyard. The North China Plain is centered around 2 of the world's 10 longest rivers, the Yellow and Yangtze, of which the Yangtze is the world's 5th largest by discharge. This plain is one of the world's most agriculturally productive regions and is almost completely flat, sitting just a few meters above sea level, and housing most of China's largest cities, including the capital Beijing and financial center Shanghai, between which are dozens of enormous cities that dwarf anything in the English-speaking world that you've probably never heard of. It's on this fertile and low-lying plain that Chinese culture, language, and power really emerged. Bounded by dense jungle to the south, the world's tallest mountains to the west, and the cold desolation of Siberia to the North China Plain has been separated from the other civilizational centers of the world by thousands of miles for thousands of years, allowing it to develop an almost completely distinct culture and way of life. The flatness of this plain has been a double-edged sword, though. It allowed a strong centralized state to form, but it also allowed natural and human factors to periodically wreak havoc. Invaders from the vast, unprotected north were a persistent problem for early Chinese empires, inspiring the creation of the country's most famous infrastructure project, the Great Wall. Another force was even more powerful and destructive though, the very thing which gave China life in the first place, the Yellow River. The flatness of the plain through which it flowed made the Yellow extremely susceptible to enormous floods and changes in course which would devastate downstream population centers, killing potentially millions of people at a time. That's not an exaggeration. All of the deadliest natural disasters in human history have been Chinese floods, with over 1,600 major floods in the last 2,400 years. This persistent problem inspired the early Chinese empires to centralize and initiate huge infrastructure projects, including dams, dikes, and canals, such as the Grand Canal, the world's longest artificial waterway stretching 1,000 miles from Beijing to Hangzhou. This was carved by hand in the 5th century BC. Along China's southeast coast are a string of geographically and culturally distinct metropolitan centers, including major cities like Fuzhou, Xiamen, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Macau, as well as China's largest island, Hainan. These cities have always been more connected to global trade networks and as such are some of the most prosperous places in China. Generally wealthier, more cosmopolitan, and culturally distinct from the Mandarin core in Beijing. This is also where the aforementioned issue of China's water borders becomes most palpable. Remember when I said it borders either 0 or 5 other countries on water? Well, no video about China's geography would be complete without talking about how these borders are far from settled. You see, the People's Republic claims the entire island of Taiwan, which is currently administered by the Republic of China government, which itself pulls an Uno reverse card and claims the rest of mainland China. It's these regions, northeast and southern China, that are home to the vast majority of the Chinese population. Over 94% of China's 1.4 billion inhabitants live in this area. The nearly completely unpopulated, extremely culturally distinct and unbelievably high altitude regions to the west of China are really just strategic depth for the population centers of eastern China to ensure access to resources and ensure distance from potential rivals. Expect another video about the insane geography and history of western China very soon, but this one has just gone on way too long. So if you want to hear about the water tower of the world, Earth's largest dam, or some of the more unsavory consequences of China's rapid industrialization and expansion to the west, stay tuned for more videos about the Middle Kingdom. Feel free to comment down below what I missed or got wrong. Thank you so much for watching. Follow for more geography content.
Anybody who could
100% serious. I loved China. And like the things that make it so awesome is it's super affordable. It is one of the most affordable countries I've been to. There's so much to do and see. There's big cities. There's awesome landscapes. It's so different from anywhere else. Just the culture and the way of life, everything is so different. And I'm not going to act like China's utopia. There are definitely a few issues I had with it, and traveling there is extremely hard. And I would not recommend it be your first country in Asia, or honestly first country in general. You need to have experience traveling because it's one of the hardest places I've traveled. But it is I love China. Like there's no way to say it. The food's awesome. The people are awesome. You can see really cool things. You're in like it's on like a different planet. It's absolutely insane. And yeah, I love China. I'm going to be posting a lot of my content from there. But I'm just making this video as like, China needs to be on your list, 100%. If you're going to Asia, you should go to China. U.S. citizens and most countries can either go visa-free, and U.S. and a few other countries can have the 240 to 10-day transit visa, which is very easy to use. So please go to China. It's awesome, but only go if you're an experienced traveler because there are it is a harder country to travel.
for traveling to visit China at least once in their life, or come live here for like 6 months, or just experience China because it's so nice being here. The life quality, like to be honest, I'm not sure on how I'm gonna move in my life because I'm living here, like currently I'm in my mid-20s, and I don't want to leave. I don't feel like in any other country I've traveled to, it didn't compare to the comfort and to the enjoyment I have living here.
Imagine a country with almost zero crime, where you can go to the park, walk around, hang out. It's peaceful. Where parents bring their kids, and parents also bring their parents. Where their next generation is going to be their best generation. Where everyone works out together on Thursday night. Where you're never too young or too old. Where it makes zero difference how you dress. Where the older generation is so proud of the deal that they got for all their hard work. I'm an American living in China. My wife is Chinese. We have a home in both countries. In China, our home is in Hangzhou, and in the United States, our home is in Cincinnati. The American media would make you think that Chinese people are worse off than Americans, that their life is terrible, that their economy is going to collapse, that there's a housing crisis, all this other nonsense. And I'm just here to show you guys the real China, what it's really like. You have 3 or 4 generations pretty much thriving at this point in China. They have absolutely everything we have over here and so much more. There's no crime, so you don't have to worry about being out late at night. It's 8:30 on a Thursday. There's also no theft, so you can leave your Louis Vuitton purse out on a table and no one's going to steal it. It's very different here than what I ever expected. And hopefully this shows you a side of China that you wouldn't otherwise see or hear. Cheers.
I'm glad you're enjoying the compilation to this extent. Thank you so much for being here. But don't you think that propaganda against China has also helped people develop interest in this country? Because you always hear attacking this propaganda, but I'm now looking at this in a good light, because sometimes when we criticize things, we help people have interest in. If when Americans went on Dreadnought and discovered that whatever they were told about China was exactly what it was, nobody could have developed the interest to travel to China. But we started seeing more and more Americans traveling to China after the Dreadnought situation with the TikTok ban.
4 days on Red Note has me going through all the stages of grief. And right now, I think I'm sitting firmly in anger. And not at the Chinese or anything like that. They're fucking amazing. Their cities are amazing. Their people are amazing. Their lifestyle is amazing. Their fucking grocery bills are fucking amazingly small. I am fucking, dude, American exceptionalism is a lie. It's a fucking lie. This country, every day of our lives is just one big goddamn commercial to fucking leech every fucking dime out of our pockets and every fucking spare second you have out of your day. It is just nothing but a nonstop fucking hamster wheel. And as a goof, we go and protest by like, oh, you're going to fucking take away TikTok because the fucking Chinese are going to take our data? Well, we're going to fucking mail our social security card directly to Xi's fucking office. You know, and then we start talking to these people and seeing how they live and then actually having direct message conversations with these new friends that are curious and excited about us. And they're like, oh, you know, tell us about what it's like in America. No offense, but we hear you're lazy and all you do is hang out and go on vacations. And I'm like, vacation? What the fuck are you talking about? No, I mean, most people are working 2, maybe 3 jobs just to fucking make ends meet. And then, you know, we start talking about what things cost. And they're like, yeah, dude, I mean, I go out to eat. It costs me, you know, whatever the fuck their money is called, yuan, whatever it is. And then it's like RPM, I don't know. And you do the math and you Google the exchange rate and you're like, hang on. That's like $1.90 for a meal, like a sit down meal. $2 you spent on a fucking meal?
Hello guys, today I'm gonna show you the center of my city. While you watch my city view, allow me to share some information about today's China and a little bit of history of China. Being proud is never a compliment in Chinese culture. We advocate confidence, not proud. Proud means too much. Our Chinese culture is about balance, not left, not right, but the middle. This year is 2025. Before 1860, China was the richest country on earth. All the modern technology is created based on ancient Chinese technology. American politicians tend to smear China by accusing it of stealing their technologies. Capitalists steal the scientific and technological achievements of others through patent ownership, which is how the USA got so many ownerships of modern technology. Such as in the past, there was Edison, and today there is Musk. China has many scientific and technological achievements that are ahead of the world. No one can steal something that others don't possess. Today's United States is founded on the massacre of Native Americans and the theft of their lands. Native Americans gave food and shelter to those criminals who were exiled from Europe to their lands. However, in return, what the Native Americans got was genocide. Stealing and plundering are ingrained in their genes. In the course of history, many European countries have carried out frantic acts of aggression and plunder on a global scale by virtue of their powerful warships and guns. They wantonly massacred the indigenous people and seized their lands, transporting vast amounts of wealth such as gold, silver, and spices from regions in Asia, Africa, and Latin America back to their home countries. Through the heinous slave trade and unequal trade, they extracted huge profits and completed the bloody primitive accumulation of capital. It was precisely these predatory and exploitative acts that injected strong impetus into their industrialization and economic development. As a result, over the past 100 or 200 years, Europe has shown a development trend far surpassing that of other regions in terms of economy, science and technology, military affairs, etc. However, this seemingly glorious development achievement is actually built upon the blood, tears, and sufferings of the people in countless invaded regions. Every accusation propagated by the Western media is actually a confession of their own misdeeds. Every single accusation is a confession. Western media have been promoting and instilling in people all over the world a belief over the past 100 or 200 years. That is, the reason why developed countries in Europe, America, and other regions are more developed is due to capitalism and the democratic system. However, today's China has proven that capitalism and the democratic system are by no means the reasons why European and American countries are ahead of other countries. Since the British Empire, driven by interest groups and the strong need for capital expansion, launched the Opium War against China, imperialist countries in Europe, such as the United Kingdom, France, Portugal, the Netherlands, as well as the Japanese Empire in Asia, have carried out aggression and plunder against China for more than 100 years, causing the flames of war to rage across this vast land of China. The United Kingdom, with its powerful warships and cannons, forced open China's door. Through a series of unequal treaties like the Treaty of Nanjing, it not only occupied Hong Kong Island, extorted huge indemnities, but also forcibly opened trading ports and imposed treaty tariffs, severely undermining China's territorial sovereignty, economic sovereignty, and judicial sovereignty, setting a bad example of aggression for other powers. France followed suit, participating in the Second Opium War. Together with countries like the United Kingdom, they burned the old summer palace and plundered a great deal of precious cultural relics and wealth. Later, through various unequal treaties, France obtained numerous privileges in China. As early as the Ming and Qing dynasties, Portugal had gradually occupied Macau and carried out colonial rule. The Netherlands had also coveted China's territory and attempted to lay hands on places like Taiwan. Although Spain did not directly launch large-scale aggression against China, it colluded with other powers within the global colonial system and supported the aggression against China from the side. After the Meiji Restoration, Japan embarked on the path of militarism. It launched the Sino-Japanese War of 1894 to 1895 and forced China to sign the Treaty of Shimonoseki, occupying Taiwan and the Penghu Islands, and extorting a huge indemnity of 230 million taels of silver, which greatly hindered China's modernization process. After the September 18th incident in 1931, Japan launched an all-out war of aggression against China. It burned, killed, and looted on Chinese soil and committed a series of inhumane atrocities such as the Nanjing Massacre, bringing unprecedented disasters to the Chinese people. The aggressive acts of these imperialist countries included seizing leased territories and demarcating spheres of influence, incorporating China's economy into their capitalist world economic system and carrying out brutal economic exploitation. They controlled key areas such as China's customs and railways. They also wantonly destroyed China's cultural heritage, plundered precious ancient books and artworks, and attempted to destroy the self-confidence and cohesion of the Chinese nation at the spiritual level. All of this reduced China to a semi-colonial and semi-feudal society, with the loss of national sovereignty, displacement of the people, heavy damage to the social economy, and humiliation of Chinese civilization. However, it was precisely this humiliating history that inspired the awakening and resistance of all Chinese people. Countless people with lofty ideals went forward one after another and made unremitting efforts for national independence and national prosperity. Finally, under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, the Chinese people went through arduous struggles, drove out the invaders, achieved national independence and people's liberation, and embarked on a new journey of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. You are wondering why the Harvard University's public opinion polls on China for 10 consecutive years have shown that more than 95% of the Chinese people support the Communist Party of China. This is exactly the reason why we Chinese people support our Communist Party of China. Under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, the Chinese people have achieved a great leap from the once war-torn and extremely poor situation to the current prosperity and national strength in just over 70 years. Today, China has become a pivotal force on the world stage, achieving remarkable accomplishments in numerous fields such as the economy, science and technology, and culture. It is worth emphasizing that, unlike some countries in history that achieved development through foreign aggression and colonial plunder, China has always adhered to the path of peaceful development. It has never launched a war of aggression against other countries. Instead, China upholds the concept of win-win cooperation, works hand in hand with countries around the world for common development, and contributes China's wisdom and strength to global peace and development. We don't feel prideful, but we are absolutely confident.
Thank you for watching till the end. After hanging out with my friend in the center of my city, I'm taking the bus going back home. Bye.